When I was in a fifth grade, there was this bully. He bullied me and my siblings. Of course, he was much bigger and much stronger. He would push me down to the ground and stand over top of me, just punching. All this occurred in the early 90s. Fast forward a decade plus, and I'm a corrections officer in a facility. One night, I'm working lockup. For those of you who don't know, or were lucky enough never to have been arrested, lockup is where everybody who interests a jail or a facility first arrives. When you enter the facility jail for the first time, there are certain things that need to be done. Picture ID, running background check, and make sure they don't have any warrants in other states or countries. Rules and handbooks are handed out at that time also, along with personal cleaning items like toothbrushes and combs. Well, one night I'm working lockup and I see a familiar face, but I couldn't quite place him. At this time, it had been so long that I truly have forgotten about him. I began to do his paperwork, and that's when I see the name and I realize exactly who he is. Now, most of the time, if there's a conflict of interest, you let your supervisor know and remove yourself from the situation. Given the fact that it's been a decade plus, and the only time I knew this young man was when we were in elementary school, I figured it was okay. Also, when you work in the town city you grew up in, you see a lot of people you know, or people you know adjacently, so this is not uncommon. Also, I figured he probably wouldn't even recognize him. Boy, was I wrong. As I had him on the wall patting him down, I noticed he kept looking back and staring at me. In the back of my head, I wondered if he knew who I was, and then he said it, my name, and asked if that was me. I responded with yes. Then I proceeded to tell him about the things that need to be done to be processed fully into the facility. At this point, he begins to try and bully me so he can get his way and do what he wants to do instead of what I'm telling him to do. He begins to say things like, "Remember when I used to whip your ass? I can whip your ass again." Telling people how he pushed me down on the ground in elementary school, trying to get a laugh. Now here's the kicker. I let him say everything he wants to say because it truly does not bother me, because I have an ace up my sleeve. I know what's about to happen next, and he does not. If you have ever been locked up, you know one of the things you have to do in a facility is a strip search. This requires you to bend over naked, spread your butt cheeks apart, and cough. This is a very humiliating process, and I truly feel sorry for people who have to go through it. But it is part of the rules. It's a safety rule, and to prevent contraband from coming into the facility. You will be amazed at what people can smuggle in. I've seen it all, drugs, weapons. You definitely have to do a strip search. So I am escorting him back to the shower where this strip search takes place. The whole time he is cussing me out, threatening me, talking about the good old days when he would beat me up. The whole time I'm just smiling, because I know we get to the shower and I tell him what he needs to do. That he's going to bend down, take off his clothes, spread his butt cheeks, and he's going to cough for me. I couldn't help it at that time. I had a big smile on my face. When those words came out of my mouth, I wish I had a camera back then. His face was priceless. Truly one of those moments you're glad you had lived long enough to see, especially when it's happening to your bully. As you can imagine, this sets this man off completely. He is getting furious. He is cussing louder, threatening me louder, and telling me everything he's not going to do, and how I will not make him do anything in that manner. Then he takes a step towards me and tells me, "I'll kick your ass right now, just like I did before. There ain't no way in hell I'm going to spread my ass for you, MF." With the biggest smile on my face, I begin to tell him, "I understand that when we were in elementary school, you would beat me up. This is no longer elementary school. You will spread your butt cheeks for me. This is going to happen. I understand that you think that you're going to kick my ass right now. But let me tell you what's about to happen." I began to press a button on the wall next to the shower door. This button connects to the control room, the person controlling all the cameras in the facility. As the button beeps and comes to life, I inform the officer to pull up my camera located near me and to keep an eye on this situation. As normal, they say, "Copy will do." Next, I tell this young man I have a radio right here in my hand, and the very next moment, You tell me you're not going to bend over and spread your butt cheeks and cough like I'm telling you to do. I'm going to call down every officer in this facility, some of the biggest, baddest officers you have ever seen. I promise you, when they get here, you're definitely going to spread your ass cheeks, one way or the other. So you can decide, do you want to do it here with just me looking, or do you want every officer in this building standing right here in this room, holding you down, forcing you to do it? The look on his face as he processed this information. Priceless, the look of utter defeat. Later on that night, I went home, spoke to my siblings, and told them about this situation with our childhood bully. I think that day I brightened their day also.